This is Colin Dixon with nScreen Media, and I'm at the OTT TV World Summit in London, and I'm speaking with Bjarne Myklebust, who is head of IP Solutions, or
IP Solutions and IP Distribution at the NRK, the Norwegian Broadcasting Corporation.
So why don't you just tell us real quick who NRK is?
Sure, Colin. Well, NRK is the Norwegian public broadcaster. It's much like the BBC, actually, built on the same model, but of course a little bit smaller. We're only 5 million people in Norway. But we do 3 national television channels. We also do 14 actually national radio channels, and we do online services like NRK NO and weather services, and also OTT services.
Now, you gave a very interesting presentation at the show just now, and I really wanted you to share that with my audience. You were basically saying that there are 3 main things that broadcasters need to keep in mind when they go over the top. So can you recap those 3 for us?
Yes, Colin. As the media market is now, it's very fragmented and it's a little bit of chaos out there. So we have to think very thoroughly on how we are going to act and how we wanted to be in this market, where we want to be in this market. So we have looked into it, and we have found that we as a broadcaster have basically three important things that we want to maintain in this market. And the first one, and one of the most important one, is that we need to keep our brand strong out there. We don't want to lose our brand recognition, because that is actually part of how we are financed. We are a public financed corporation, license funded, and if the people don't know where the content originates from, they won't be willing to pay the license. They have to know that this is an NRK production. So our brand is very important in this chaos of a lot of content.
Right, and you need to retain editorial control as well, right?
Yes, that's number 2, Colin. Editorial control for us as a broadcaster and news organization is very important. We have to have control that our content is kind of served in the way that we want it to be served. So we have to have control over it. We also have to be able to pull the content from the market if there's something wrong, if there is some infringement or anything. And we also want our content to be served as a whole. That will say that we don't want someone to cherry pick the best programs, the most popular one, and put them into their system. We want actually our whole programming to be served in one package, more or less.
And number 3?
Well, number 3 would be more about the rights issues. We have to have control over the rights issues. We have some rights ourselves. We produce ourselves, which I think is important in this market. And we also handle third-party rights that we also have to have some control over. And if we lose that, we will have some problems with the rights owners when it comes to managing them.
And when we were talking afterwards, you told me that there was a secret number 4.
Yes, there is a secret number 4. We as a public broadcaster do not do commercials, but I think also for a company which produces content that can reach over the top directly to the end user can also make some more money, because there are a lot of actors in the value chain that shaves off a little bit of that money coming from the end user, and also having control over the business model basically, and also control over the end users. I think there is more money to be made.
And these 4 points led you to a very interesting conclusion, right?
Yes, well, putting them together, we see that probably the best thing for us as a broadcaster is to serve over the top ourselves. Making, of course, together with partners, making applications and over-the-top services to smart TVs and so on, but making them in our own brand and also serving them directly to the end user. Then we have control over our brand, we have editorial control, and we have also control over the rights. That doesn't mean that we don't want to do cooperation with the cable companies and so on, but then basically we want our application and our serving into their box if they want to have it, of course.
And you've already delivered OTT, you already have an OTT app in market?
Yes, we do. We are OTT on the biggest smart TVs. We also are on some of the game consoles, and we're now also working with the Norwegian DTT operator in Norway on actually implementing our application on their new set-top box.
And how's that going?
Well, it's going good. The problem with the operators or the distributors or satellite operators, cable companies, are that they have set-top boxes and many of them are old and not very capable. But again, there are some coming out with new boxes with more capacity. They understand that if they're going to be in this market, they have to also deliver OTT services. And some new boxes are coming out, and it looks pretty good.
So it sounds like definitely you are leading edge. I think there are a lot of broadcasters around the world that are probably coming around to the way that you're thinking.
Well, I hope so, and I think so, and they should, because we see that with these services we can actually broaden our reach. We reach more people with our content, and as we say, our content has first value when it reaches and gets consumed by the end user, and with OTT services we can reach more of them.
Bjarne, thank you very much for your comments.
Thank you, Colin.
This has been Colin Dixon with nScreen Media.